Welcome to the Diary of an Awaretrepreneur podcast. This is a space for real conversation about business, life, and the deeper journey of being human while building something meaningful in the world. Too often we hear the polished stories of entrepreneurship, the wins, the strategies, the growth. The behind every business is a person navigating uncertainty, identity, purpose, and the constant evolution of who they are becoming. Here at the Awaretrepreneur Tribe, we believe business can be a path of awareness, a way to align our work with our values, our relationships, and the deeper calling of our lives. In this podcast, we sit down with founders, creators, and leaders who are walking that path. We talk about the successes, the failures, the transitions, and the inner work that shapes how we show up in a business and in the world. So wherever you're joining us from, take a moment to slow down, settle in, and enjoy the conversation. So we're going to go into a calling in right now. So just everybody relax and close your eyes, take a deep breath. And we're going to call out firstly to the powers of the south, to the element of water, to trust in innocence, that we can flow, that we can open our hearts, that we can connect authentically as open-hearted humans who are going for the more. That we can meet this conversation with innocence, that we can just free will and just share what exists within our heart to share within this pilot episode. I call the element of earth, that we can bring into the physical the manifestation of our dreams and desires through this project. That we're able to start to cultivate and bring the substance of this physical podcast set and structure into third dimensional reality. I call to the element of the air, to the northern energies, that we can expand our minds and we can raise the frequency of our thinking to share and bring in new ideas that stretch us and grow us into the more. And I call to the element of fire, to the eastern energies, that we can search inside our womb for a deep determination from spirit to bring forward through this podcast the insights, the desires, the questions, and the conversations that are going to help us move the needle on this planet. And these are our prayers. Aho.
Aho.
Okay, welcome everybody. My name's Ben Baker. I'm here with Rich Latimer and Martyn Humme Cobbe. And these two gentlemen here have the very glorious title of being the founders of this project. And tonight we are just going to share and riff on how this project came about. So why don't we go to you, Rich, first? You're the man who dreamt this and was the carrier of it from spirit. Tell us how it landed and what we're doing here.
Mm-hmm. Wow. That's a big question. I mean, I want to tell the stock standard story of, sort of where the idea originally came. We'll get there. But really, if I think deeply about it, it really sort of goes way back to around 12 or 13 with my first sort of really deep brush with death. And I've had a few. And around 13, I was in a very, very intense sort of childhood, a lot of trauma, a lot of violence and a lot of things that were happening in the home. And there was also a deep communion with nature. I was starting to explore things spiritually and, reading the Bible. I remember reading the Bible and Lord of the Rings together, while I was sort of 13 and experimenting with smoking the odd joint. And I was doing it via candlelight. We had no electricity in the little shack. And there was this life of contrast where there was some fairly significant events. And during a kind of a moment where I guess I felt that I wanted to leave the earth, like an attempt at suicide, really, by drowning myself. There was a rebirthing in that moment. There was a song I wrote called Surface about it. And there was a connection to spirit, a connection to my heart. And look, if we want to go surface level cognitive psychology, it was probably a coping mechanism, to try to work out how I could make it through or survive. However, it was much more profound than that. It was definitely a sense of connection, to spirit. And I really think that was the seed for everything that I've done, music, other programs, including this one, where it's like, hang on a minute, if I'm going to stay here on this planet, well, why? Mm-hmm. And all I could really realize when I had that feeling was this sense of love and service is kind of the key. And so that's what unfolded in my being. And really what came with it was like a force that helped me navigate a lot of trauma and a lot of pain. And then we moved through the years with different things I've done. The awareness shows was one that came from, a profound story with my brother and a vehicle accident. And it's almost like everything I'm trying to do in my life is me trying to work out what it is I'm here for and what I'm here to bring. And it keeps coming back to this sense of connecting to my own heart, connecting with others, and connecting to source. So really, whatever form that wants to take. Right now, we're calling it the Awaretrepreneur Tribe, and it's got this incredible potential vehicle. But really, the baseline essence is the unification of hearts, the connection of hearts, and the desire for that to be the way that things are on the planet. And then the specific story of this particular event was during a rite of passage I was doing in the desert, in the Central Australian desert. I do initiations and rites of passages when children come into my life. I have 3 children. I go out with elders and mentors, and we do quite deep work on really reimagining ourselves as men, and what are we going to bring to the world now that there's a new human soul in the family constellation. And there was this strong mission that this was the next thing to do. Was, I'd been developing in business over the last 20 years and music career, and it was this culmination of like, it's time to do something with love in the space of business. And I'm in the middle of the desert. I just finished a pretty strong sort of process. I was on my back looking at the stars, and it was just like a direct lightning bolt that, I'm not an entrepreneur. I'm trying to expand my consciousness, but I'm also operating within this matrix in this field of business. So the Awaretrepreneur was born. And I get visions, I get intuitions, I guess, like a lot of founders, and you have different ways that you might want to label that or describe that. For me, I've honed and practiced and worked on my intuitional skills. And so I look for these signs, and then I follow the yellow brick road. And really that's the birth of the project. Came out of the Larapinta Desert, but it came from the original source of not wanting to die, then not wanting to leave the planet. Okay, great. What do you want to do on the planet? Well, I want to feel that sense of love and unity because it's like I touched the edge of it. I was under the water. I had a backpack of rocks on. I was like trying to drown myself, and I could feel, scientists might go, yeah, that was just because your oxygen level was running out. You're starting to feel the euphoria because it's, all that sort of stuff. But it was way beyond that, right? And it was this sense of, no, hang on a minute. This is such a sacred gift to be here. And that then seeds, would be a seed in many things that I go on to do from that moment. And this is one of them, and obviously more recent, being sort of 3 years old since the sort of inception phase and the birthing phase up to what we get to be here now after, we've just done an incredible day of media shooting. It's very real. So, yeah.
Mate, it is like, just the power in that life experience at that age. It's like, does something happen when you hear it in recollections of near-death experiences, right? And people have these experiences and then they have these insights and new understandings about life that weren't there beforehand. Is that kind of essentially what you experienced at the age of 11, the tender-old age of 11?
Around 12. Yeah, for sure. I guess so because you touch that mortality edge. Yeah. And you'll look at people that have had those kind of experiences, and there was an element of that for sure. But there was this this concept of free will. It's like in that moment, I'd had other moments where I had near-death experiences that weren't in my free will. They were by violence, and so destiny's destiny. My time will come when my time comes. But in that moment, I was in control of that part of my destiny, and obviously that went on to inform other things later in my life. Little was I to know that, some 20 years later, my brother was to be in a vehicle accident, catastrophic head injury, no chance of survival, and I'm there singing to him in the ICU ward, which would incept and give birth to the Awareness Shows program, which was around the same thing. But you asked me, like, where was it birthed? It was birthed in the concept of I'm here. I exist, therefore I am. What am I doing with it? And I guess my decision was to try to work out how to continually connect with and commune with love. And then as I got into business, I was like, I was struggling to find some of the love in there. Really, to be quite honest. And then I'm like, well, what am I going to do about it? You know what I mean?
Well, the appetite, you'd be able to, you're in business, we're all in business. The appetite is really developed and growing for this. I felt myself like there's this craving to be able to do business in a new way. Like, I don't know what it looks like.
Yeah.
There's a better way of doing things and interacting with people and making agreements and all this than what we're currently working with. And we don't know what it looks like. And that's what's exciting about this project, is that we're all on a journey of discovery with this together.
100%. Yeah, beautiful.
So maybe you could tell us how you met Martyn and how that all came to be.
Yeah. So a part of what happened for me there was I knew that eldership, tribe, community was vital to my survival. So I started seeking out mentors and guides. My father and mother split up when I was young. I had minimal contact, but the paternal father, no matter how flawed, how failed, how distant, how disconnected, is still always a primal hero. The genetical codec that no matter what, you'd go and read the studies on it, even fathers that have gone on to become, horrible, or serial killers or whatever else, there's still this paternal thing. So that was always there but never present to me often. So I needed to seek out that, and I started doing that. So I formulated a habit of seeking mentors and elders quite young. And that played out through my life in many different ways, and spiritually speaking as well, different paths, connecting with Christ, connecting with different lineages and things, and getting a lot of time with Aboriginal culture as well in the particular area I was. So it was kind of like it became a learned skill. I'd look for the mentor or the elder in the room before I looked for the fastest opportunity in the room. It's like, Yoda's one of my biggest heroes. I developed an extremely strong bond with the archetype of Yoda. And so then, I started to develop the intuitional skills to identify wisdom in people. And then I would be able to go, I need to speak to that person because there's something there for me. Yeah, it was a trained skill. And I remember going, my digital agency was taking off, my marketing agency. I went to a seminar that I was doing, and Martyn was a presenter there. He was speaking on relationships and family, and I watched him speak, and I felt his energy, and I got the signal. It was like, this man's got some beautiful heart and wisdom about him. He touched me, and I got that signal that I get where it's like, there's your next elder you need to connect with. So, and I remember he left. I don't know exactly how it happened. It was up the Gold Coast somewhere. And then I was like, why don't we go to pizza or something? We went to Mandala, which was my friend's restaurant on the Gold Coast. And we sat under the tree there and we spoke. And it was a natural thing. It was like I could see eldership within that potential relationship, mentorship. And we remained connected for many years. You know, different dialogue over that time. Martyn did some marriage counselling for me and my wife over the years, and just, you know, and then I also noticed the generosity and the compassion, the benevolence. You know, it wasn't always fee for service, and it was like there was a fluidity that was built into the man. And yeah, and then it evolved, and then after the experience in the desert, I began building the Awaretrepreneur Tribe, you know, because I just had to do what I get these missions, and once I've got them, I've got to do them. So I was doing it, but we've been friends for a long time, and he saw the awareness shows journey, and came to a couple of the awareness shows tours when we did the high school tours, and then, I don't know, I can't remember specifically how we opened.
We just found ourselves doing this
I know.
together.
I think you said to me, what are you doing now? I said, oh, look, I've started doing mentoring and coaching. I'm doing this thing called Awaretrepreneur Tribe. Martyn's a mentor and coach for many, many years. And it was just this, what are you doing? I said, come and check it out. I think I'm going to build a global business network. It's going to be amazing. You know what I mean? And then Martyn's, all right, I'll come on one of the Zoom calls. And then we're on these Zoom calls and we're building this thing. And then people are showing up and then we're doing this clan stuff and we're feeling it out. And then Martyn just, just has been there by my side and believing in me and the project. And they're still sitting there.
Here I am.
Here he is.
Guys just kind of fell into business together.
Yeah. It's almost like our hearts were sort of knitted together.
Yeah,
at
there was
quite
a
early
destiny
stage.
Yeah.
And I felt that there was this inevitability that we'd end up doing something together, something significant together.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell us, Martyn, tell us about who you are, and I guess we've heard the origin story now of how you guys kind of got started, but like what's your journey been like on this project?
Well, really, it's funny. Crazily, I had a similar experience to Rich's when I was about 18. That was a near-death type experience. And I had a similar experience of something sort of beyond this life, and that just awakened something in me, and I really didn't know what it was. And from sort of 18 to about 25, I was just, a lot of my life was, looking back, I could see that I was really looking to find the source of what that was. And one of my mentors along the way was a tutor at art school who really implanted in me this concept of deep universal principles that could be applied broadly across your life, and that just really resonated with something in me, and really since that time, I guess I would have been 18, 19 when that dropped in for me. And really since that time, and that was 50 years ago, I've just been gathering. I've been looking for mentors, looking for wisdom, wherever it might come from, across sort of every area of life. And once I got married and had children, I really could see I was pretty inadequate as a husband and as a father. And I really sought wisdom about relationships because I'd had a really difficult teenage years and sort of really messed up my own mental health, and I needed to find principles which I could be a loving father and also able to provide for these 3 kids and my wife, who was stay at home, and so here I was as this young guy, 30 years old, with 3 kids and a wife to support, and being this really creative type person, and I guess entrepreneurial type person. I was just looking for a way to provide for them in a way that I could live with. I just always found it really difficult to go the conventional path of just being employed and so on, and so I was always looking for creative solutions. And so, I just went on this journey of self-employment, of starting businesses in the design world, which was my area of training. And I ended up creating an interior design business with my wife. And a huge part of that I could see was just learning to build relationships with clients, whereby there was this trust and there was this creative flow between them and me. And part of it was me seeking to empower them to share what they were really wanting, the world that they were wanting to create, the life, in a sense, the space in which they could build the life that they wanted to have there with their family. And then ultimately I found myself in this role of sort of mentoring these people and sort of coaching them, not just about their sort of physical space, but around their parenting and their marriage and stuff like that. And when I was doing that, I just found this incredible sense of purpose and fulfillment. And so that just really sowed a seed in me to move in that direction into this more sort of mentoring, relational coaching, and also I was also teaching at the university, teaching young people in the realm of design, and teaching them to be able to develop a creative business and have the sort of foundational confidence and relational skills to be able to build relationships with their clients. And so all of that sort of laid a foundation for me. Once I had a period where I was working with my sons in a business in the music industry. For about 12 years I was running that business with them. And after that, I just wanted to go back and be more in the space of mentoring people in this balance of having a creative enterprise, but also having a really great personal life and sort of a set of principles by which they could build that life in a sustainable way. And really that's what I've been doing for the last 15 years. And really in Rich, in this project, I just see this as the perfect vehicle, because not only has it got that the relational skills and business skills and personal development processes, but also it brings in this element of community, of people being able to inspire and support each other. And this sense of as they see the others learning and growing, they sort of see themselves in them, and they're able to learn their own lessons, but also they're able to learn from the lessons of all the others, that they're building this relationship inside of this container that we've created with this Awaretrepreneur Tribe. And sort of that's the journey that we're on. And that's just, it's been amazing. And wow, the people, the
Unbelievable.
amazing
Just
people
unbelievable
who've
stuff.
been drawn into this work, and the transformation and change and significant growth that we've seen in them and in their business projects, and in the positive outflow that's coming from this internal growth, just going out into the world and to their families and into the people that they're serving. It's just so fulfilling and satisfying for us to be involved in a process like that.
Yeah, well, I've been lucky enough to be one of those people. Yeah, so for anybody listening to this, I sit in circle with Rich and with Martyn. They're my mentor and my elder. And, I've been surprised. Like, I was always resistant of circle or clan work because sitting around talking is, like, not the thing that, gets me excited, essentially. And, cool, if we're at, building something or making something and we're having a chat, then that's the blokey way, right? But I've been very surprised at just the impact that it has when, you've got the reflections from many people, but also in particular elders that have, got a perspective that is, beyond my vision at this point. And so I guess there's going to be so much more to unpack with both you guys' stories. Not now, but I feel like the way we can maybe wrap this out is to maybe just to share what each you guys feel like what impact do you think, like what impact do you want to have with the Awaretrepreneur Tribe? What is an entrepreneur to you guys, and how does an Awaretrepreneur business look like? What does an organisation look like which is based upon Awaretrepreneur foundations or principles?
Okay. Well, it's actually extremely simple. It's love, basically. And then, as humans, I mean, we constantly seek after that thing called love, yet often, struggle to really connect with it or really bring it forth, in ourselves, let alone our relationships, let alone our families, let alone in business. And so, I mean, at the core, I mean, we got our symbol here that the 8-pointed star represents the different pillars. So on the diamond axis, you've got the kind of pillars of the personal, the person itself, and then you've got the pillars of the business represented by the square container, and then you've got this idea of aspiring, this sort of arrow of ascension, this shooting for the star to try to evolve, to be seeking a bigger level of awareness, a deeper connection with love. So there is no definition of an Awaretrepreneur. It's just definitely not an entrepreneur or the manifestations we currently see in the business world. It's the seeking after a never-ending, perpetually growing expansion of one's own personal awareness and the expression of that through your enterprise or your project. And that looks in so many different ways. And it comes in every single different shape and form you can possibly imagine. Some guiding principles are to love, to learn, to serve, and to uplift. We have fundamental values or universal principles that underpin the work.
Yes.
And then it's built on knowledge that's thousands and thousands of years old, the clan work knowledge, and that's come through every lineage and every traditional culture. So we've really just sort of cherry-picked from these and I've experienced, these are real world experiences. I grew up, in clan circles. I've been doing men's circles for years. It's an organic and fluidal process. And So through my seeking to understand myself and grow and expand my awareness, and how can I apply that in my life? How can I, and now the question is, how do we apply that in business?
Yes.
And not as a, hey, let's, just sort of, go and expand our consciousness for a weekend or a retreat somewhere, or, let's, those things are great. They're experiments, they're plays into the space, but we're talking about deep inside, right? The individuals, the founders, the CEOs, the people in those areas. It doesn't really matter, actually, whatever level of that, perceived hierarchy. It's as an Awaretrepreneur, you are saying, I'm constantly seeking the expansion of my own awareness to step into a deeper understanding of myself, to expand into love, to expand into services, expand into connection. And I'm trying to work out how the fuck I can bring that forward in my business. And we're just building a global community that are actually assisting people to work that out, because we're all trying to work it out.
Right.
And it just sort of feels like at this point in time, the world's really wanting that to start getting worked out.
Yeah.
That's what we're feeling. That's what we're hearing back from the marketplace.
Yeah. How did that, brother?
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope that made some form of sense to whoever's to whoever's behind that camera. Yeah, that's me.
Yeah. Oh, look, our vision is, it's about love. But we've got to put sort of we've got to embody it. We've got to bring and integrate that love into the practical details of our life. And first and foremost, it's being able to love and have a compassionate view of ourselves, despite the fact that everything we do is imperfect. It could always be done better. And to have this sense of self-appreciation and a recognition of the deep inherent value of us as a unique individual. And the beautiful thing is business is just a wonderful canvas on which to sort of share that unique gift that we have in some creative way. And that there's so many different colours, there's so many different shades, there's so many different tools and mediums by which that can be expressed. But ultimately, it's about giving something of value to others that then creates the potential for a value exchange. And that's beautiful. I mean, that's how everything that we as humans have built. It's just through that, through value exchange. And there's so many ways that can be done. But ultimately, it's a beautiful thing. It's creative. And also just being able to build a support system of relationships in your life.
That's the key.
That makes it possible to sustain the effort.
Yeah.
Because to go out in the world and try and do something and build something, especially build something new or build your own version of something, that's difficult. And there's potential for it to be really rewarding. But to be able to stay the course and do it in a way that doesn't burn you out, but in fact, it becomes a way for you to grow and develop as a person.
That's
it. And very much that's what our whole framework is about, is being able to provide a framework whereby the experience of business and building family and a great personal life are a learning process whereby you're able to extract the gold and extract the things of lasting value, and that you can sort of build up a reserve of that you can then give out to your clients and give out to the people you care about. And we just want to empower and equip and train and assist in and support in any way we can for people to do that.
And that's, I want to say, it's not just us. What we're finding is the kinds of people coming in, they want the same. Now, you've experienced it.
Yes.
It's called a Mentor 7 clan because it's not about the mentor. It's about me and Martyn being the gurus and the high level, It's actually a community. It's a tribe.
Yeah.
We're on level, we're all sitting here now on the ground in this podcast to represent something. We're permeating everything we do with it. And so everyone's mentoring everyone.
Yes.
Yes, there's hierarchy. Yes, there's different levels of knowledge. There's this respect for eldership and things like that. But really, it's calling in the community that want this kind of approach that Martyn just described to be permeating out through business, and not looking for someone to save or solve them in that, or give them the blueprint for that, or the ultimate scale call, or the no. Come and be that for us. For him, for her, for everyone, back as the way it rightfully is so. So it's calling in as an invitation for that community to help everyone and flourish in the ways that Martyn's just said. Yes, we've created the frameworks. Yes, we've got the program. Yes, we've built incredible ways that they can happen. The foundations course, and the networking meetings. But these are just fabrics. It's the human hearts and souls that are willing to align with those values and grow through those awarenesses that is going to make this thing just incredible, like a serious force in the field and a pioneer in that space around the evolution of conscious business.
Yes.
And I love the amount of attention to detail that's been done with, just making sure it's affordable, that at every level it is like you walk and you talk. Like, this is, you really want to gather the troops and
calling in the tribe,
calling in the tribe. And,
we are.
Yeah, and it's all about that. And there's an economic reality, and that's honoured, but it's not the primary purpose for why anything's happening. And I just want to honour both you guys for bringing this to the world. It's like incredible. It's exciting. There's so much more to talk about with everything else and products and all the plans and everything. We'll get to all that, but I feel like this was a beautiful start, lads. And thank you for all the energy and effort you've put in to get the whole project to where it is at this point in time.
Thank you so much, Ben.
Yes. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, much appreciated, Ben.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You too.
Yeah.
Cheers.
It's all good.
Yeah.
It's all great.